1. Are you ready for some high school football?
Welcome to Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve.
And it starts right now.
And now it's time for football in Plainsmen Football with Steve and Steve.
Somebody fire me up!
Welcome again to Plainsmen Football 2016 with Steve and Steve. I'm Steve Keim along with Coach Steve Hayes. Thank you for joining us for our final show of the 2016 season. Enid Plainsmen ends on a losing note, I should say, for the game against Putnam City on a Thursday night ball game, a score of 42-21. It seemed like the Plainsmen ran into another passing attack that was really, I guess the guy threw, Coach, how many touchdowns? Six touchdown passes or whatever?
Yeah, way too many. Yes,
just
sir.
way too
Yes,
many.
sir.
And I guess, after a while you say, do we keep counting, or we just know that these guys are really good in that?
Yeah.
But at any rate, the Plainsmen in 3-7 overall, 2-5 in district play. And coaches, we were talking earlier, identical records, say, to last year, but there's something different about this year. I just sense as a fan, as someone in the stands, if you will, viewing practice or whatever, there's something different about this team.
Yeah, I think we're young, and our success was at the young levels, and we have 15 returning starters that'll be coming back next year, playing again. And so I think that's part of it. I think everybody kind of understands how good we can be, the work that we need to do to take that next step, and our off season will be huge. Will be huge if we want to be successful next year. But we genuinely have a chance, I think, athletically to match up probably a little better with people, and looking forward to the future. Obviously disappointed that we didn't, win some more football games this year and qualify for the playoffs. Stillwater ended up qualifying for that last spot, and really it came down to the fact that if we'd have beaten Stillwater, we'd be in the playoffs right now, talking about a playoff game, regardless of how the rest of the season ended out. And that's going to be one of our top priorities. We've already talked about as a staff maybe playing that Stillwater game on a television in the weight room every day from now until our first game next fall. Because the last 2 years, Stillwater's been the reason we haven't gone to the playoffs, and that's going to be our next hurdle.
Sure. I know it's in the past, but, Coach, just share with us a little bit about the Putnam City game. You knew that they had a passing attack and that they had a quarterback that could throw, and they had quite a receiver who's going to catch quite a that was no surprise to you.
Yes.
Was it just difficult to keep up on the, say, man-to-man coverage, or what?
You hesitate to make excuses or whatever. I do think that our secondary had been depleted by injuries, and we had played really well defensively for the first portion of the game.
Sure.
We were ahead 14-7, and then we finally had Dalton Dyson, who was on the show earlier this year, went out with an injury, and so we had gotten pretty thin in the secondary. You would hope that you would have kids that would be able to come in and continue to compete and prevent that from happening. But Putnam City. At the skill position, were very athletic. They had good speed. They had good receivers. They had one receiver that was probably 6'6", that created some matchup problems for us as well. And to their credit, the quarterback threw the ball well. The receivers were talented. Still wish we would have probably competed better and responded to our injury situation better.
Coach, as we move into the highlight section of Plainsmen Football 2016, what are some of the highlights that we're getting ready to see?
Some great defensive highlights, and Will, who'll be on the show later on today, has a great interception early on the game. At the point in time, we were doing really well. Corey Slaughter has a strip sack to the quarterback, which was a great play and really lowered the boom on that kid and created a big play for us offensively and up scoring.
I think Corey was our guest last week.
Yep,
okay.
That's right. And then another great tackle by Josh Faulkner on a short gain. And then offensively, we have a great catch on a screenplay by Cross Bay and Will Phillips on two different plays to get the ball in scoring position. Have a nice 43-yard run by Will down to about the 10-yard line, and then another 29-yard touchdown run as well. And so some good offensive productions. Will had a really good night with about 150 yards rushing, so it was good to get him back going again, and had a little over 1,000 yards rushing for the season. So had a really good sophomore campaign.
Very good. Thank you for joining us on Plainsmen Football 2016. Now let's take time to look at the highlights from the game from last Thursday night as Putnam City defeats the Enid Plainsmen 42-21. We'll look at the highlights, and the comments that Coach Hayes has for us, and we'll look at those right now. Welcome back to Plainsmen Football 2016. Coach Hayes, I appreciate the other Coach Hayes and other coaches that were instrumental this year providing us highlights.
Sure, yes, sir.
That was a feature that we had talked about 2 years ago, that we wanted to find some way to implement the highlights in case you missed the game. You wanted to see some of the big plays. And your staff was very disciplined and diligent to get us those
You bet.
highlights and playbacks, if you will, in a timely fashion. So many thanks for
Just
that.
like anything else, we just had to figure out the technology. It seemed like there's always, and we did.
And there is some technology behind the scenes. Speaking of technology, you need somebody in front to go first and foremost, and that's who you have today. We have junior Austin Whitehead, number 73, number one in your heart, right? But number 73 in on your jersey. Austin, welcome to the Enid Television Network. Appreciate you being here today. And now the coach is going to ask you questions that you're not prepared for. So thanks for being here today, and congratulations on the season. I know numbers-wise it hasn't turned out, but I think you're in agreement that things are going in the right direction.
Yes, sir. They are. They're getting a lot better.
Good deal. Coach?
Well, Austin, it's good to have you here today. Thank you for being on the show. And why don't you introduce yourself to the people watching as far as name, number, and kind of your background as a player.
I'm Austin Whitehead. I'm the center for Enid Plainsmen, and I'm a 2-year starter.
Yeah, number 73, like we said. Now, Austin, you have changed a lot in the 18 months that I've known you. Talk a little bit about how you've transformed your body and how much you've grown over your last 2 years as a starter. Started for us as a sophomore last year.
Yes, sir, I did. I was a starter last year and this year, and I think the biggest improvement was my off season I had. I put on a bunch of weight. I weighed about 230 last year, and at the start of the season this year, I weighed about 265.
Yeah.
So,
What are you weighing right now?
I'm about 270 now.
So you even gained a little
I'm
bit more weight
getting-
during the season.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's outstanding. We love that the linemen do that. So as far as improvement this year, what do you feel like offensively? And maybe you can focus on the offensive line since that's what you play. How do you guys feel like you've improved over the course of our season this year?
I feel like we've improved a lot. We were with the new coach coming in. It was kind of nice having him and just the way he changed some stuff and firing off the ball and trying to just run the ball. And I thought that was what we improved on a lot.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so. Became much more physical, I thought, and aggressive as the season went on. Now, you guys have a special event as the night before games that's become kind of famous. Can you kind of tell the viewers a little bit about what you guys do the night before
Now,
game?
remember, this interview will last a very long time.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We just have the offensive line over, the offensive line coach, and we get together and have team dinner. And then once we're all done eating, we gather around in the living room, and Coach Smith gets his guitar out, and we start singing some country songs.
Yeah, there you go. Isn't that like a group of linemen? That's awesome, isn't it? Yeah.
So you're telling me the dinner and the country songs attribute to your weight gain? Is that what
Yes.
it is?
They do.
Now that's
They
the
do.
secret. Okay.
So honestly, how good's the singing?
It's actually pretty good.
Okay. All right, you guys. We need to cut a lineman album this year in this off season. Plainsmen linemen sing.
I am a Plainsman for the
That's right.
something.
That's right. Moving into the offseason, obviously, we want to improve and we want to have more success next year. What do you see from an offensive standpoint, areas that we need to probably grow and things that we need to focus on moving into next year, and then from a player perspective and a lineman perspective?
I think we need to get a little bigger this offseason. And I think, like the Stillwater game, we need to get a lot tougher this year.
Yeah.
More mentally tough and physically tough.
Man, I love when my linemen say that. That's a good sign. When kids are calling to be tougher, I think that's great. And Austin's a great example of that.
Excuse me, but Austin, why did you make that comment? Where does that come from? Is that because of matchups through the seasons of other teams?
Yeah, it seemed kind of like when we played Stillwater, they kind of came out and hit us early.
Okay.
And we didn't come back till towards the end of the second half. And I think we need to come out earlier towards the start of the first half and try and hit them in the mouth too.
Because, people that are watching the program, they automatically assume that you're rough and tough to begin with, just to play football.
Yeah.
But then there's a totally another level, isn't it?
Yes, there is.
There is, in the mental aspect as well.
We got to enjoy the dirty work. There's no doubt about it. Well, you're a very strong student. What's your favorite class?
I would say U.S. history. I kind of like the
Okay.
history.
History buff. I didn't even
I
know
like
that.
this
Yeah,
guy. I'm a
buff. That's
history
pretty
person.
awesome. So how do you foresee, you use your love for education, what do you think you're going to do in the future when you graduate from high school?
Well, I've thought about it a little bit, but I kind of want to do something with sports, kind of maybe physical therapy,
Oh, okay.
kind of. So
Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely see you being great at that.
Austin, let me ask you a question, and again, it sounds like the the question I had for you just a few moments ago. But what do you attribute the weight gain to? Is it besides pizza? Okay, in my case, it's pizza. It's not the first one; it's the second one. But I know there's weight training involved. You're lifting. Can you just kind of give us for that viewer to say, "Man, this guy went from 230 to 265. How did he do it?"
yeah, I would say just lifting every day, showing up every day to work, and then you got to eat a lot to keep up with it, and then taking your protein is a big part of it.
Okay.
Austin really hits it on the head, I think, and this is a key to success in anything in life, and that you got to show up every day. You got to show up every day and work hard. I mean, so much the difference between success and failure is the willingness to show up every day, day after day, regardless of how you feel, and do the work. And Austin's a great example of a kid that's done that, and that's the reason, in my opinion, he's gained the 35 pounds, is he showed up and worked hard every day.
Austin, you may know of some individuals that are at school that didn't participate, didn't play this year for whatever reason. What word of encouragement would you have for them to say, consider Plainsman football next year?
I'd like to tell them to come out and try it. We had a kid actually come out and try it this year, and he loved it for the first time. So
Didn't you have a soccer player that came out for the first year as a senior or whatever?
And a receiver
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
Okay.
This ended up starting for us, Ryan Tafoya.
I didn't mean to cut off in your answer there, Austin, but just encourage him to come on out.
yes.
Anything else, Coach Hayes?
No, sir, he did good.
Very good. Austin, thank you
Thank
for being
you.
here today. We appreciate your time. Number 73, junior at Enid High School, Austin Whitehead, offensive center, if you will.
Now, next year we need to have him and Coach Smith on the show to sing.
I think we can do that. I think we can
Secrets out.
because we're going to expand this to a 1-hour segment, I'm sure. So we'll have you. So remember that, Austin. We'll have you back to sing. Thank you for staying with us and joining us on Plainsman Football 2016. Our special student athlete number 1 today is Austin Whitehead, and we'll have another student athlete to introduce to you right after this.
Gerald Williams, class of 2018, wide receiver and corner.
Trent Musa, senior, linebacker and tailback.
Colton Dodd, sophomore, right tackle.
My name is William Green. I am a defensive end. I'm a sophomore.
Corey Slaughter, senior, defensive end.
Again, thank you for joining us on Plainsman Football 2016 with Steve and Steve. And Coach Hayes, before I forget, I want to say special thanks to the group out at the mall at On Deck, and also to Kenny Hedges, who worked on our desk for us this year. Yeah. Kenny is a City of Enid employee, and he did a great job refurbishing our Plainsmen football desk for us. So, Kenny, thank you. And also for On Deck for helping us with some of the helmets and display that we have here, because they're all behind the Plainsmen, supporting the Plainsmen.
Yeah,
we appreciate their help on the studio. And we just appreciate you being with us. Coach, it's hard to imagine we've done 10 or so sessions. I mean, the games, I mean, the shows have just gone so quick.
I know.
Well, speaking of quick, we have a young man. It's a sophomore, Will Phillips. Will, welcome to the Enid Television Network. Appreciate you being here. And, golly, what do you think of this television stuff?
It's pretty cool. This technique's pretty cool, being around all this.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, thanks for being here. And Coach Hayes has a few questions for you, and he kind of wants you to be as honest as possible, but that's not my requirement. So Coach Hayes, he's all yours. Will Phillips.
Hey, Will, thanks for being here. It's great to have you this morning, and just so proud of all the great things you've done the last 2 years. You've already had quite a career, and you're just a sophomore. Tell our audience a little bit about, give me your name, number, and positions you've played, and how long you've started.
All right, I'm Will Phillips, play free safety, running back, started 2 years.
That's right, number one in the program and your hearts. He's won them both this time. Well, talk a little bit about how you feel like you've improved as a football player this year from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. I've definitely seen it, but I want you to kind of share with our viewers.
I feel like I improved a lot since last year. Last year I didn't play running back as much. They didn't need me as an offensive weapon. I mean, we had a lot of offensive weapons, but I was just young. I was young. There was older kids that were better than me. I mean, I had to step up this year to play this year. This year I had a lot of playing time at running back and free safety. I feel like I got better in the weight room, too. Last year I was 175. This year I'm 190.
Yeah. You've put on some really good muscular weight as well. Really improved also, I think, with your vision as a running back and hitting the hole correctly. Yeah. Saw that Friday night. I thought you got 149 good yards running the football. Was very impressive. Definitely your best outing as far as technically as a back all year long. Real proud of how you played. Now, you're a very diverse athlete, big part of your life. What other sports do you play, and what else are you involved in?
I play basketball, I run track, and I volunteer. I help out the special needs kids. I volunteer with them.
Yeah, help with Special Olympics.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, which is great. Matter of fact, this morning you guys were bowling.
Yeah, we were bowling this morning. It was pretty fun. We had a partner. Then everybody was just bowling, having a good time. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Well, now you talked about being in basketball and track. If I'm not mistaken, you've lettered both in those sports as well as a freshman. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and so you've already had quite an athletic career. Now, at school, what's your favorite class?
Oh, math. Yeah, I like math.
That's awesome. There's not many running backs out there going to give that answer.
No.
I
personally wouldn't give math.
Yeah, I know. That's we got American history and math today. Wow, I'm impressed with my football team.
Yeah,
that's a great thing.
Where are you finding these kids, Coach?
I don't know. I wouldn't trade it for anybody. Now, Will, what do you think as a team and individually we need to work on improving between now and next year to take that next step, make the playoffs, and win more football games?
Mental toughness, like Austin said, we need to work on mental toughness. Attitude's a lot. I need to work on my attitude a lot too. I have real bad anger issues. I get carried away with my attitude. I try to control it the best that I can. I just try to keep my team up. Sometimes I let my team down, but I try to keep them up, keep them positive, tell them good things and stuff.
Yeah. You haven't proven that as well as far as being encouragers here. There's no doubt. Now, individually, what ways would you like to improve as far as maybe your strength or your size or your speed over the course of this next season?
I want to improve on my speed a lot. I want to get faster. I want to get stronger too. Yeah, I need to stay in the weight room. I think track's going to help me on that a lot.
I do
speed.
Too. You weigh about 190 right now. What do you think would be a good weight for you to come back next fall at the running back position?
200, 205, 210, somewhere in there.
Pretty big handful at 205. Now, it seems like a long way out, but you'll graduate from high school and that will get here pretty quick, believe it or not. What do you want to do after you get out of high school and after you move on?
I want to major in business, and I want to be a head coach for a football team.
You want to be another coach. He's already got my recommendation. I think he's going to be a fantastic one.
Well, Will, let me ask you a question. As you play free safety, somebody comes to you and say, well, what is the special requirements you have to play free safety? What special skills do you have to have?
You have to be athletic, first of all. You have to have a lot of speed. You have to be fast.
But that almost sounds like you described a running back.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So my point is there are similarities, even though it's on the other side of the ball. But
yeah,
For sure.
you have to have good vision too, both sides of the ball, offense and defense.
Yeah.
compared to last year, different seasons, of course, but what would you take away from this year's success, the team unity and all that? What will you just take away as a memory?
This year we started off the season doing good. We started off the season doing good. I feel like we could have finished this season doing better.
I agree.
Better than what we did. Last year we didn't start off too good. The ending we started doing better. Next season we need to start off doing good and finish doing good.
Start and finish. I'm with you. I agree.
Yeah.
That's a great plan.
Very good. Will, thank you for being with us today. Appreciate your time. And Will Phillips, sophomore, will be back a few more years for Plainsmen. Plays on both sides of the ball, running back, and also at free safety and number one. So, Will, thanks for stopping by Plainsmen football today. Well, we need to talk a little bit about the off season, and that's coming up right after this. Thanks for staying with us on Plainsmen football 2016 with Steve and Steve.
So either you miss the tackle, somebody fire me up! Plainsmen, somebody fire me up! Go! Go! Tackle, you gotta get placed on.
Again, thank you for joining us on Plainsmen Football 2016. Coach, I really appreciate, and I've said this before, forgive me for sounding like a broken record, but you have brought some just tremendous student athletes, stellar character from what I see, and it's been a real treat for us, the Enid Television Network crew that gets to meet the student athletes. So we had that feature last year in the show, but it was really strengthened, I think, this year.
Yes.
And appreciate getting to know these forgive me for saying kids, but these athletes and these students.
Well, thank you for having them, and I couldn't be any prouder than a group of kids. You're right; they're exemplary people, which is the most important thing, and have grown so much in our time together. And looking forward to spending another year with these two guys.
I get in trouble every once in a while, and I'll say this: that Enid's the 7th largest city in the state. We ought to start acting like the 7th largest city in the state. And so sometimes I think about what great opportunities that you and I and the ETN staff and the city of Enid and the ETN network, if you will, providing opportunities for young men to be on camera,
Yes.
to see all the work behind the scenes.
Yes.
Besides, they know what it means to work behind the scenes with all practice and
Sure.
everything.
Yeah, very much so.
But we're just pleased that we're able to have that type of exposure. You never know. They may be the next TV personality on NFL football or something, and it started here just to do that exposure.
You
so
bet,
we
absolutely.
appreciate that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Okay, the season's behind us. It was a quick blur. It really wasn't 10 weeks.
Yeah.
It just went so quick. So let's talk a little bit, Coach Hayes, on off-season. Here we are a little before Thanksgiving, a few weeks away. We've got testing, classes,
Yep.
Thanksgiving holiday, and you come back after Thanksgiving, then what's next?
Well, the process for next season's already begun, and everything gets evaluated. It's kind of a reverse engineering type mentality where we take everything apart, we look at it, and we figure out what it is that we need to change, fix, do better, what we're doing well, and we need to keep. The kids will goal set and set targets for next May and next August, physically and mentally. They'll have position coach evaluations where they'll talk about their specific technique and fundamentals at their respective positions and where they need to improve. We'll also address the mental component of it, and it was mentioned today, things like mental toughness. And the other thing that will be a very heavy emphasis this offseason will be truly the development of player leadership, because I think that's the next step for our program is, we've created a good culture in our locker room. We've created a group of kids that have character and treat one another well. And now we need to really focus and develop on just the ability to lead and raise the performance of one another and have that type of effect on one another. And so that will be a high point of emphasis and something that the kids will be exposed to considerably over the next weeks and months.
Coach Hayes, I'm quite sure that most folks watching Plainsman football, they are familiar with mental toughness, but again, even today, we've heard that 3 different times.
Sure.
Can you kind of give us a layman's terms of expectations? When you say we've got to increase mental toughness,
Yes.
What are you really saying?
I think for our football team, it's the way we respond to adversity. I think that you have to embrace it as an opportunity, and you have to stick your chest out and your head up, and you have to plow forward. And I think I think that comes with maturity, and I think next year as a mature football team, the expectation would be that if another team does have a great play or physically lowers the boom on us, our response is to get up and lower the boom right back. Yeah. And looking forward to seeing our kids do that.
And it seems like in high school ball, you're just one play away from exhilaration to disappointment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so you have to have that bounce back as you
Absolutely.
talked about.
You're right.
Anything else involved in off-season?
Just a constant process of testing and working and feedback and testing and working and feedback. And obviously that all transitions towards spring football, which will occur in May. But basically we're building towards that moment where we can put on pads again and begin to refine our craft as a football player. And then the summer with 7-on-7 and summer camp will be big as well. It's a never-ending, ongoing process for these kids that do it 4 years. And our seniors that just finished up, it's a huge void and gap in their life now that Sure. They don't have to go to it anymore. And it's amazing. They really realize how much they do when that's that Monday after the season and you don't do it anymore.
And tell me again, between now, say November, if you will, all the way up to May, what's the lifting? Let's say the requirements or what's allowed by so-called, the Secondary School Association. What's allowed in lifting or any type of exercise program? I guess I should say.
We have an hour a day where we can do football-specific development. Okay. Have a ball out there and do football-type drills. Can't have pads. Sure. You can't have blocking dummies, things like Sure. that, but you can work on specific – we could run routes, throw passes, defend passes, okay. things like that. And then you also have the opportunity to have a weightlifting period where kids are working on lifting weights and improving their physical strength. And so we do both.
Okay, Coach, like I said, it's been a blur. We need to close out this segment of Plainsman Football 2016, and we'll have Coach's final comments right after this.
Armand Velasquez, sophomore, defensive end.
Jaden Palmer, defensive tackle, junior.
My name's Isaiah Mendenhall. I'm a sophomore, and I play corner.
Weston Ingram, sophomore, corner.
Darian Goins, junior, quarterback.
Coach Hayes, we got to say goodbye, thank yous, and all of that in 1 minute or less. I want to say special thanks to you watching all the Enid Plainsman football fans, parents and everybody, grandparents and so forth. Thank you for joining us each and every week. Coach Hayes, thank you for joining me each and every week. I really appreciate it and getting to know you better, and also your ball team and the assistant coaches.
Thank you for hosting this show. What a great year it's been. Appreciate all the support you guys have given us, and I appreciate all the support our viewers have given us as well.
Very good. Okay, it's time to get excited again for Plainsman football, and we'll just change the year, but we'll be back next time to talk about exciting Enid Plainsman football. Until then, make it a great day.
Thank you for watching Enid Plainsman Football with Steve and Steve on ETN.